friends, we have special guests here on Israeli News Live as well as Rise Up Children of God and the Noon Institute. And the guests that we provide for you, we do so because we feel like that there is valuable information that our guests have that we want to share with you. But please keep in mind, not all the views and opinions of our guests are our own personal views or opinions. But we do want to bring their thoughts and their stories to you, uncensored, so that they have freedom of speech themselves. So before you listen to this broadcast, keep this in mind. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. Shalom. Shalom Chaverim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Today we have our very special guest and friend, John B. Wells, who is the host and founder of Caravan to Midnight. He's also former host of another program. I'll let John introduce himself anyway, John, and tell us more about what you're doing there. We're going to be talking about Russia tonight and all points in between. And John is just a wealth of knowledge and information. By the way, you will be able to see on your screen and in the description below here, definitely check out Caravan to Midnight. It is well worth the money spent to subscribe to the program. There's such valuable information that John brings out on his program. Can't encourage you enough to go there and subscribe and become a member of that. It's not expensive either to do it. But it will bring you information like you've never heard before. John, welcome, and we are very delighted to have you tonight.
Thanks very much, Stephen. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a long dance from the Coast to Coast AM days when I sat in there on Saturday nights, and by many accounts, I haven't seen the printed paper myself, but as I began to get away from things like Bigfoot and things which would remain in the nebulous arena, and actually got into some facts like the Fukushima disaster and how this is not going to stop, and global communism and things like that, and climate, global warming being a complete farce. Of course there's climate change. The planet does this. Everything is cyclical in the entire universe. So of course the weather patterns in the country are. They didn't like that after a while. And in the meantime, the ratings became massive. And I'm just grateful to the Lord for giving me a skill, okay? I mean, this is not an ego trip I'm on here. It's just a fact. My ratings were huge, sometimes equaling or surpassing the entire rest of the week combined. But management didn't like what I was talking about. And so I started Caravan to Midnight on February the 3rd, 2014. And it's a membership service. We have no sponsors. We have no corporate influence. There are several people out there saying, one of them in particular, talks like this. Says he's outside the mainstream media. He's outside of corporate influence. It's like, pal, you are mainstream media, and you are corporate. We are not corporate. We have our members are the ones who support us, and it's the most fantastic audience a man could ever hope for, or a woman, a person could ever hope for, and more than I ever hoped for. Just exactly what I wanted. And we bring on people from all over the world, and they are invited to speak their minds completely, without fear of being ambushed or just beating them down and trying to twist them.
That's exactly right. We had a little cutout here, John. It cut out just a little bit here. Give it a chance to catch up here for a moment. But
sorry about that.
I can attest when John started, because of course I've known John for quite some time now, and I remember the early days of him getting started and knowing a little bit about what's going on in the background, because we would talk a little bit and John would share with me the difficulties of getting this thing up and running. So he definitely did not have any corporate help whatsoever, but he pulled it together and did a remarkable job on bringing out Caravan to Midnight. And as John says, you have the freedom to be able to speak there. We've been guests there many times ourselves, and I just really appreciate the format, the way John does it, and that there is no one in the background pulling strings. And I knew that myself as well from another program. Won't mention the name of that program there, though, that We were supposed to be a guest on at one point there, but because of some of the views that I hold, they didn't really want to have me on there. So that became a challenge, and of course with John doing the Caravan to Midnight, that alleviated those problems there. John, there is so much going on about Russia right now, and as we were talking before coming on air, I had just discovered an article in the Russian language, and it's on a. Well, I'll have to put a link to the site in the description below for you guys. But there is a Russian journalist that has taken the words that Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, has said about the death of Mr. Churkin, Vitaly Churkin, and according to what he states here, and it is true, it's in the Russian language, my wife understands this language, he says that that Lavrov quoted, and he's not the only, by the way, he's not the only diplomat that has stated this. There's one other diplomat, the former Russian diplomat to the Middle East there, also stated that Churkin died, or not died, but was killed in the line of duty. And the article goes on to call it a murder. And as the man that wrote the article pointed out, he said you have to keep in mind foreign ministers choose their words very carefully. Now the Western media, mainstream media, both West and Europe, never once did they put in there the word killed. They only put the word died. They didn't want to translate what the real Russian word was there. But there again, you know, John, 6 diplomats have died in the course of 3 months in Russia, not in Russia, but around the world. And one can't help but wonder what in the world is going on.
Well, you know, first of all, let me just say this. There's a court case that resulted from 2 people who were trying to investigate bovine growth hormone. And the station news director down in Florida, is a Fox affiliate, was very excited about this, told them to pursue it. And then, after they did pursue it, they came back with the results. They said, you know, you need to tone this down a little bit and put a little bit more positive spin on it. And they said, no. The long and the short of it is, when they refused, they were fired. So they took them to court, took the station to court. And the judge agreed, the court agreed that this is wrong. And Akers, A-K-R-E-S, and Wilson, Akers is the girl, and Wilson is the guy, she got $425,000. Now, Wilson didn't get anything. He's like, what am I, chopped liver? I mean, I'm paraphrasing here. But they're like, no, it's not the same deal. Well, they reversed that and took that award away, and then made the proclamation that accuracy in news reporting or inaccuracy in news reporting, whether it's information or disinformation, is strictly a matter of policy. It is not regulated. Now, if you combine that with what's been going on with CNN and all these other ones, we have a complete... This is nothing new, folks. This is nothing new at all. Thomas Jefferson said, effectively, that what you read in a newspaper is not worth using as toilet paper. It's not worth it. If you want to be misinformed, misdirected, misguided, and lied to, read a newspaper. So we shouldn't act like this is something new. What we should be saying to ourselves is, how can I break this programming? Because you are being programmed. You really are. These things... There are people who sit around all day long. They have nothing to do all day. Nothing to do all day except contrive social experiments, much like this flat earth nonsense that's going around now. That's a social experiment. You know, research indicates that only 10% of the entire population of any given country is capable of independent thought. In the United States, independent thought has been encouraged and gendered into the population, so we probably have a higher percentage than that, practically, because you can get a statistic to support anything. But the point is, people are engineered to believe in authority. And it goes all the way back to our worship of God Almighty, you know? But people who do not worship a deity will worship something. And the progressive left, progressivism, which is indistinguishable from communism, complete with the insults and the violence and the willingness to visit violence upon persons who disagree with them. This is communism, and this is their religion. And if you argue with them about it, they'll attack you. So it's like confronting someone that you know has stolen something. You're gentle at first, then they get violent because they're guilty. And that's what's happening here. The system is so entirely corrupt that the only way to salvage themselves is with war. I mean, the Russians are our brothers and sisters. Putin is actually a defender of Christianity. You know, he has created a secular society without abandoning the traditional Christian views and beliefs and the customs of the country. I mean, it's amazing. We should be able to do that here. Oh, that's right, we had that before. And so what has happened is something I observed decades ago. We are becoming more like the old Soviet Union. The old Soviet Union is gone, and Russia is beginning to be more like we were up until, and then after that, it was pretty much all bets are off because CIA had their hooks in everything, and CIA's they don't execute policy, they make policy, because intelligence, finance, global finance, and foreign policy are now, they're one thing now. So of course they're not going to there's so much money in proxy wars, nobody would believe it. But with all the money that they spend, it's more money for them to spend. So let's go back to any little fairy tale or any story we've ever read about a king. The king was despondent. His wars and his gambling debts had depleted his treasury, so he needed a new game. Well, what's depleted our treasury? What's depleted our treasury are our wars and our gambling debts, namely the stock market. This stock market's gone over 20,000 now, and most of it is bogus, and it's going to bust, and they know it. People are trying to abandon the euro now. When it comes right down to it, Plato was correct. Anything beyond food, shelter, and clothing is pretty much a perversion. Well, we're already completely perverse in that regard. Drink, want more drink. Drug, want more gun or drug. Want more cars, higher view from building, more buildings. Got girlfriend, want more girlfriends. We're absolutely out of control. I mean, there is seemingly no end to our lust for things, while simultaneously, and I say we pull away from our spirituality and go more toward the material. Well, as we can see now, it's all coming around to bite us, because now you see the machinery, you see the antics, and now you see the motives behind those who convinced us that to abandon God and thereby abandon who we really are and what our real mission in this life might be, to go with the easy life, to go with the material life, the life of pleasure. And we're finding out, as has been said before, there is nothing less pleasurable than a life devoted to pleasure. It's all coming around to bite us. And because we've created this huge apparatus, when this thing cracks, there are going to be a lot of really angry people out there. And the most stupid of them will be the most violent.
You know, John, you're right. And what's really troubling is that, as you mentioned earlier, Vladimir Putin has been a defender of the faith to start with. He's actually bringing back the old Tsarist days of Russia, when Russia was actually a major contributor to evangelism of China. You know, and it is sad to see that the economy is in shambles as it is, but as you mentioned, war is what drives that economy to begin with. Dr. Steve Pigeon was on here on Israeli News Live not too long ago, and Dr. Steve Pigeon had made the comment to me, because we were talking about all the U.S. military equipment that is flowing into Europe, and it's staggering numbers, John, staggering numbers. And Dr. Pigeon said, Steve, he said, I don't know if you know this or not, he says, but the European Union has purchased all of this military hardware. And his thinking is that this is not necessarily going to be used against Russia. He said it's actually just being made to look like Russia is the aggressor. But in his analysis is that this is going to backfire on Eastern Europe, that they're bringing in all the Arabs from the refugees from Africa, from Syria. Syria was really just the excuse, but coming in from all parts of Africa and coming up here into Europe. And what the intention is to eventually bring them into the military. They will begin to outnumber the Europeans here, and then they will actually say, okay guys, look, we have a new European Union, and you're either going to be a part of it by freedom of choice or by force. And he believes that they're going to turn the tanks and all this military equipment back on the people in the Baltic region, in Poland, all these nations here while this military equipment has gone to, and pretty much make it like one superstate. As he put it, it's neo-Nazism, it is fascism on the rise in Europe. We're seeing it in Ukraine, and that Ukraine was only the catapult. That was the beginning of what they had anticipated to do.
Angela Merkel, for example, was a little communist youth organizer in East Germany. Anybody that doesn't believe me, you can look it up. Now you're looking at the former president of the EU, I believe, Schultz, with his little pursed lips, with the little glasses, and he looks like Dr. Evil personified. Now, that's just a little humor there, folks. But here's the thing. I'm not sure that it's socialism or fascism. I think it's just plain old communism. I think that's what it is. There's not enough money to support a global population with anything other than communism. And, of course, the ones who run it are going to be the ones who have the money, just like they did in the Soviet Union. They had the nice cars, the nice girls, the nice houses, plenty of money, no problem. And as long as you were hardcore party supporter, you were fine. But if you became not quite Soviet enough, they just kill you and your whole family and your pets. And this is for sure. Then they will go through the records and you would cease to exist. No birth certificate, gone. Driver's license, gone. No record of it whatsoever. Fingerprints, erased. Family photographs, gone. And they would just put you in a pit and throw a few shovelfuls of lime in there, and that's the end of you. Nobody even knows who you are. You have ceased to exist. This has happened before. We need to remember. Look, I'm sure that people will go, oh, this guy's a racist. Well, you know what? Maybe I am, because racism is nothing more than wanting to defend, protect, maintain, and preserve your country, your borders, your culture, and your language, and nothing more. There is nothing about that word that suggests superiority over another race. Nothing. If you're talking about bigotry is a bigot is someone who holds unreasonable prejudices against a group, usually, but could be an individual too, based on appearance, religion, or culture. Well, culture follows behavior, and behavior follows the religion. And so, we need to embrace the Russian people. We need to embrace the Eastern Europeans. They are our brothers and sisters. Black Lives Matter and all the rest of these people, and La Raza and the rest of them, they can lie and claim that they built America. They did not. They can continue to push this narrative that white men in their khaki shirts and shorts and their pith helmets were just running through the jungle, throwing nets over black men and dragging them, kicking and screaming back to the slave ships. That's nonsense. The origin of the N-word comes from Nigerian. Nigeria sold its own poor people into slavery, and then as they enriched themselves, they invaded other countries and sold those people into slavery, brokered through the Arabs, who are still heavily into the slave business. What we need to do in this country, in the United States and in Europe, is go back to our Christian roots and decide your religion is incompatible with ours because of the behavior. We don't mind that you worship. We don't mind that you build a mosque. What we do mind is that you indoctrinate your followers into thinking that anyone who does not embrace your religion is the enemy and should be killed if they will not convert. That's not going to fly. I have decreed two things, Stephen. Number one, Cinco de Mayo is a nonsense holiday and should be rejected and forgotten about, because it's the whole thing is about a momentary Mexican victory over a vastly numerically inferior French force. And that victory was overturned about 2 weeks later, and the French installed their guy, and it's over with. So I've destroyed Cinco de Mayo. Now, I am declaring 2017 the year of intolerance. We need to decide what we are no longer going to tolerate, whether it's women parading in the streets with female sex organs fashioned into hats and spewing all this profanity about things they know nothing about, visiting violence upon persons and upon property that does not belong to them, while, for the example, at the University of California at Berkeley, the police are told to stand down. Well, I wonder who told them to stand down. The United States of America, they're trying to push it into the same situation that was done to the Republic of South Africa before Nelson Mandela, the communist murderer, took over. Barack Obama is our Mandela. He is now situated 2 miles away from the White House, behind a wall, by the way, just like the Hollywood elite are. They're all behind walls, but they don't want a wall at the border. But I digress. He has 30,000 people in an outfit called Organizing for Action. And his little upturned chin that's the perfect pose for every little communist propaganda poster that has ever been seen by anybody. Barack Obama is a Trojan horse. He's not a Manchurian candidate. A Manchurian candidate doesn't know what he's going to do until he gets the signal. Either the woman in the polka dot dress or, a couple of riffs from some rock and roll song that nobody's heard of, except this Manchurian candidate. Then his brain clicks over to what he's going to do, whether it's grab his rifle or whatever it is he's going to do. Barack Obama is a Trojan horse. Barack was the name, or is the name, of Muhammad's horse. Barack Obama is a Trojan horse. Oh, look, a cool black guy who smokes cigarettes. He's going to fundamentally transform America. Yeah, America's terrible. It's never been good. It's never been great. And Barack is going to come to the rescue. What did he do? Destroyed everything. Destroyed everything he touched. And the last thing he did was issue, sanctions against Russia, while freeing countless violent drug offenders who were in jail. Pardon all of these people. He destroyed the healthcare system as we've known it. For some people, it's working all right. For the rest of us, he lied about everything, keeping your doctor, the premiums are going to be cheaper, all this. It's not. It's a failure. The big companies are leaving the exchange. He is a liar because he, in my opinion, he's a liar. And this is their stock and trade. This is what communists do. The great ideal, right? All based on lies and violence to back it up with. That's what they're trying to do. That's the only way they can save their fiat financial. It's all about money in the end. When it's written in Scripture that the love of money is the root of all evil, well, I think people should pay attention to that. But you got to listen to Woodward and the other one. Follow the money. Go to your Bible. The love of money is the root of all evil. These people will do anything to protect their wealth. Anything. They don't care about you. As far as once you're crushed and bled out, you're nothing but just something on the sidewalk that the street cleaner will come by and wash your remains away. They don't care about you. Stephen, what kind of a psychopath? Well, I think I just tipped it. What kind of a person is completely okay with assassinating people, with launching wars where countless, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of men and women who have nothing to do with the problem, they were just living their lives, and their children, all blown to hell all over the place. What kind of a person would be all right with such a thing? A maniac, a psychopath, and worse, a megalomaniac, someone with a God complex. And these people have it. Russia is the convenient enemy. Now, they don't want to take on China because there's too many of them. There's, 2 billion of them? So we've got a lot of trade agreements going on with China, so we don't really want to disturb that too much. Well, Donald Trump is disturbing it. And he's disturbing it with Germany, too. Oh, they don't like this. Now they're really mad. And they keep going back to the Russian hacking, when the fact is, Hillary Clinton didn't win the popular vote. Anybody with an IQ above 62 can figure it out that I'm serious about this. If you combine all the people, the dead people who voted, how do dead people vote? all the busing going on, busing people different precincts, the illegal aliens, and then I don't think anybody saw a vote from Clinton to Trump, but a lot of people saw him being flipped from Trump to Clinton. So maybe the Russians need to improve their hacking skills. There was no Russian hacking. There was no Russian hacking. NSA and CIA have said so, or FBI have said so. Then, suddenly, well, Donald Trump approached the FBI to ask them if they'll go public and dispel these Russian hacking rumors. No. Some guy, I can't remember his name, some guy walked down there. There was supposed to be a meeting scheduled, and it was mentioned, but the White House didn't contact the FBI to go to the media and say, and beat this down about the Russian hacking. There wasn't any Russian hacking.
That's right, John. There was none. And
None.
The sad thing is, though, is they're playing it. And why, you brought up the point, too, about Obama moving right down the street. Why is Obama there in the first place?
He thinks he's going to be the next Nelson Mandela. He thinks that Donald Trump is going to be removed from office and they're going to ask him to come back, or somebody who was in line to succeed him after he left the presidency is going to come in to take over where Donald Trump left off. We must resist this. If you want to be a free people, if you want to punish the deserving, if you want to even if the punishment is nothing more than driving them out of the system, they don't have to be driven into destitution, although that would be my preference, and their assets seized. That would be my preference. Then get on the right side of things, and there is a website that I want everybody to see. Let me see if I can bring this thing up here. It's yes, it's at indivisibleguide.com. 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 And you will see about, 2 meters long. Scroll down the page and just keep scrolling. I'm on chapter 3 now about how to organize. Every moment is an organizing opportunity. Every person a potential activist. Every minute a chance to change the world, by Dolores Huerta. And how about this little Yvette Falarca? She's obviously just a vicious little thing, clearly a deviant. And she's ready to take the violence to the streets. Why would you want to do that? Well, because our ideas are so ridiculous that we cannot get people to vote us in. Well, that's how it works in a republic. And then you've got California. They're going to change this, but as it stands now, you go to the polls, you have a choice between 2 Democrats, because the ones who pull the most numbers in the primaries are the ones that are going to be on the ballot. So effectively, your vote means nothing, because no matter who votes or if they vote, you're going to wind up with the Democrat. This is what the Democrat Party has devolved into. It has devolved into a wretched hive of lies and communistic agenda and nothing more. Oh, you're being too rough on them. I'm not being rough enough on them. This little puke down here in Texas, Escamilla, he's decided he's going to sue Ken Paxton because Laura Presley, when she was running for an office down there in either Austin or Houston, she noticed that there's some serious voting irregularities here. So, under Freedom of Information, she went to the Capitol in Texas and said, "Look, we need some transparency here." Oh well, Escamilla, he doesn't want any transparency because the transparency will reveal that every attempt to have integrity in the elections is being thwarted by the Democrats. Now, I'm not saying just because somebody is a Republican makes him okay. For Paul Ryan, he's a pretty good actor because he's changed his tune quite a bit, so he's acceptable now, but I don't trust him. I don't trust McConnell, Graham, any of those mugs, really. I have great hopes for Trey Gowdy. I'm watching him, too. John McCain, put my ration in the garbage disposal over there. These people need to be gone. We need term limits. And I'm all over the place, Stephen, and the reason is things are so messed up right now. It is on a spectacular level. The good thing is when these systems crumble, and they are crumbling, and when these people are revealed for what they are, and they are being revealed, the blowback is going to be pretty rough. So I'm going to go back to an old Jewish proverb. You ready?
I'm ready.
He who cannot endure the bad will not live to see the good.
That's true. That's true. And you mentioned John McCain and Lindsey Graham, and they're nothing but warmongers. Both of them over in Ukraine, just warmongers. It's absurd, John.
Well, it's beyond absurd. It's absolutely all the way to satanic. We know that, and I haven't gotten into this Pizzagate thing at all, and I'm not going to until I know more. I'm not going to get pulled into somebody's jackpot because they're trying to sell more product on their website. I'm just not doing it. Sensationalism is not us. There's plenty of real stuff out there without making stuff up. I mean, somebody put out there that special forces and the military have been sent to Antarctica. It's like, consider the source before you bite off any of this.
Absolutely.
It's more flat earth mentality. But the thing is we're in a very, very dangerous place right now because the so-called power elite, soon to be the former power elite, they are absolutely so desperate that they're dangerous now. And that's why they want to start something with Russia. Russia hasn't done anything. I don't know if I've said this already, but they supported our Revolutionary War back in the 18th century. They supported us. They were allies in World War I. They were allies in World War II. Joseph Stalin was a maniac. He did kill a lot of his own people. But here's the other part. The useful idiots phrase that Stalin used to use wasn't about people in Russia and in the Soviet Union that were supporting communism. He used that phrase to describe Americans who were espousing the virtues of communism. He called them useful idiots. And that's what they are. That's what they are. They are simply useful idiots. It is their religion. Oh, the left just went crazy when the First Lady, Melania Trump, read the Lord's Prayer, recited the Lord's Prayer down in Florida at that rally. Oh, they just couldn't believe it. Good.
I applaud her for what she did, John.
So do I. And their daughter, Ivanka's fashion line is going through the roof. Every time the left pushes back, we'll just cut her off. We don't buy Melania stuff. They are vicious people, and I think it's because they do not have the spirit of the Lord in them at all. And they hate themselves. They know on some primordial level that they are made in the image of God. And when they see other people who seem to radiate, they're not neurotically unhappy with being in the world because their faith makes them happy. Like, what is it, Philippians 4:8? Keep your mind on the positive things. Keep whatever is honest, whatever is truthful,
That's right.
Whatever is beautiful. Think of those things. The rest of it that he didn't write, I guess that was Paul. I guess the rest of it is that, because if you concentrate on this negative stuff, you're just going to wind up walking on the side of your head, and that's all. Understand what we're being confronted with, and understand that it's not going to get better. Now you may ask, well, why is the left, or why are they able to organize so much? And it seems like people on the conservative side of things, who are on the side of the constitutional republic, they're not really all that organized. Because we only organize when they're coming over the wall, so to speak. They organized plenty on election night, and the whole country turned red except for a few little blue spots there, And they want to say that Hillary Clinton really won the election. Well, no, Hillary Clinton really didn't win the election. But that's what they do. The thing is that the people on the, let's call it not the political party, but the mentality, the Republican mentality. The reason that we don't have time to orchestrate is we're busy producing. We're going to organize, all right, but it will be when things have gone entirely too far, and now we're going to have to push back with the same amount of power that we're being pushed against with. That's what's happening to us now. It appears that, we're just lazy. It's like, no, it's not time to engage yet. But that time is coming, because these mugs will not stop. This ISIS commander has said that there are cells inside the country. What is it, not Republican Guard, it's something else. They're in place. Yeah, Revolutionary Guards, that's it. Revolutionary Guards commander admits terror cells ready to strike in America. In the meantime, you got the Catholic Church. Says the Mexican government is submitting to Trump terrorism. Because it's terrorism. What Mr. Trump does is not only apply inhuman legalism, but a real act of terror. Really. Because we don't want you to walk into our country and we don't know who you are, and you got no business being here because you're a citizen of that country. But they want to say it's racist, even though Mexican is a nationality, not a race. But let's say it is a race. Let's look at who built the culture, who brought the culture, who maintained the culture, and who are the culture destroyers. Let's look at that. We must bind ourselves to Western Europe and to Eastern Europe including Russia. These are our Christian brothers and sisters. They are under assault. And these money people are going to use radical Islam. That's just the muscle. It creates confusion, and it creates fear, and it creates murder and extortion and expense and grief. That's what they count on, because they think we're afraid. They think we're afraid, Stephen, the way that they are afraid, because they have no faith. They have no faith in our Father, God Almighty, nor in His Son, Jesus Christ. They have no faith in that. They have faith in the state, and that's why they're miserable. So understand it and deal with it. And if there are people who are supporting this leftist progressivism, don't do business with them. Don't even talk to them. Don't argue with them. Don't engage them. You know what your truth is. You know what the source of truth is. Roll with it. And when it's time for you to come most presently upon your hour, I have no doubt that you will make that appearance, and you'll do exactly the right thing, because you'll have prayed for guidance to begin with. We don't run this planet. It's obvious. You've been told and told and told. I've been told. We've been told. Satan runs this planet.
That's right.
Jesus himself said, but don't worry about it. I've already defeated the enemy. I have already overcome the world. Don't worry about it. I'm paraphrasing the Lord now, which is not really a very good idea. But I take that to mean just play your part and don't wring your hands over it. I've got this, okay? Keep your faith strong. Be ready to act when the moment is on you, and concentrate in the meantime on your prosperity, on your faith, and on the positive things in life. I've already defeated the enemy. Don't worry about it. I got this. And that's what we should do. And that's why the right is not wringing its hands. All we really do is go, look at these idiots now. Stephen, I didn't turn on the Academy Awards last night because I think it's a joke anyway. Oh, Manchester on the Sea, I think got Best Picture or something. I don't think it was that, but got Best Actor. It was the worst movie I have ever seen in my life. Plodding, boring, just, at the end of it I went, because I'm a member of After SAG. I don't even know why. They do nothing for me, but you know, you got to do it if you want to do voice work in certain places. Most people don't pay any attention to them, but so they send these movies out for me to review. Horrible. La La Land. Horrible. Fences. Okay. Fences was okay. With Denzel Washington. I don't even know how they came out, because I didn't watch it. Because they want to turn it into a big political circus. Stop Trump. Stop him from what? So you want high taxes, and you want illegal immigration, and you want churches to go away, and you want pedophilia, and you want satanic rituals, and you want to support artists, if you can call them that, recording artists in the music business, and recording artists in the film business. It's recorded after all. You want to support them, despite the fact that they're freaks, and most of them live completely miserable lives. Oh, they have the celebrity, but do they actually have a life? The ones that have lives are the ones you never hear about. You know, the ones who are out there in the forefront of things, you look deeply into what's going on with them. They're miserable people, ruined families, blah, blah, blah. They're not walking the line, but these are the people we're supposed to emulate. And sports people. Oh, yeah. You can chase a ball down a field with an expertise that is unbelievable. Really? And I'm supposed to heap accolades upon a person who spends their life chasing a ball because they're paid millions upon millions of dollars to chase that ball. So therefore, they are worthy of my admiration. They are my leader. I don't think so, Stephen.
No, not at all. Oh gosh. You know, John, as we kind of get near the end of this here, I'd like to kind of go back to one particular subject that you've been speaking about, and just shed some light on some things here that our viewers this morning in our broadcast this morning in Europe got to wake up to, and that is President Trump has taken and he has tried. He got knocked down by a federal judge, putting a ban on a select group of Muslim nations there, allowing the people to come in. And, you know, John, what we saw here Paul Joseph Watson actually was the one that posted it on Twitter, but I forget who actually put the video up. Somebody else put the video up. But it was a march in London with the Muslims were marching. They had, some of them had flags very similar to that of ISIS flags, marching in the streets, chanting death to Jews and death to America, and that they were going to conquer America, and they're going to conquer Britain and turn it into an Islamic state. You know, John, we're seeing this firsthand here in Europe. In Paris, France, and I've been there many, many times covering the news there, the rioting has spread to 20 cities throughout the country there. Sweden, you're not even seeing this in American news or anything because they won't bring it out, but Sweden and Germany both constantly were having terrorist attacks there, but they won't call it terrorist attacks. You know, it's getting out of control in Western Europe very rapidly, and now the Czech Republic is now bringing in more refugees, and we weren't even allowing them in there to start with. So how can, you know, with seeing in Europe what we're going through over here, and then people have the audacity to condemn President Trump for his actions. You know, I don't know. I mean, to begin with, John, it was temporary. It wasn't even something that is permanent. He just said, we got to figure out a way to deal with the situation. And of course, they're all bent out of shape about it, but yet, you know, Israelis can't go to 13 different countries that are all Arabic countries because they have bans on them. But they don't say anything about that. You know, I mean, John, I mean, you've gone there already, but what's more your thoughts on this? It's nuts. I mean, people don't like Trump, I guess, because they have an ego problem or something. And I've noticed as well, when Obama, only a couple of miles from the White House, the very thing that you mentioned a moment ago, John, is something that's been concerning me from the very beginning as well, is that he is intending on coming back in. And I never thought about this like the Mandela. If anybody wants to have a Mandela effect, there's your Mandela effect. You know, I'm not into the other side of the Mandela effect, but that's truly a Mandela effect there, John. What's your thoughts on these things?
Well, there are a couple of outfits out there that, and they're well known in the so-called alternative news arena. And I don't think they have any business of being in this business, but because they rely on sensationalism and really nothing more. While I'm speaking to you, I'm looking for something I want to pass on to you. But here's the thing. I believe that they understood. As I say, these people have nothing to do all day long but try and figure out what's going to happen next. You know, like solving a Rubik's Cube or playing a chess match. You know, looking 2 or 3 moves into the game to try and see where they will be if such and such happens. Contingency planning it and so forth. And so, I believe the reason that these people have been brought into the country. First of all, this travel ban in these 7 countries. Let's start there. Which one of those countries is not a failed state? They don't even have any records in some cases. So, it's a Muslim ban. This little weenie comes on to Fox News talking with Tucker Carlson, I think, and it's a Muslim ban. Well, what if it is a Muslim ban? Well, you know, a filmmaker was going to come here, and now he can't come because of Trump's fascism. Well, that's just stupid. They're bringing these people in because they know that the alternative media has taken root. They know that mainstream media is not being believed anymore, that people just simply do not trust them. I mean, there are enough reports and polls out there indicating that people don't trust mainstream media anymore, period. Even NBC, they've decided to hire the Barbie doll, to Megyn Kelly. She's nothing but a little closet leftist. And when I saw her reactions on election night, I said, she's gone, watch and see. And she was. We know that CNN lies. We know Amber Lyon has come on and said CNN, when I was there, we were paid to run certain stories, and we were paid to not run certain stories. Well, what does that tell us? So these mugs understand that mainstream media is not having the effect that it had once upon a time when we trusted Walter Cronkite, a Fabian socialist. Okay. He got ratted out for that later. But he was America's dad. We could trust him. Well, we don't trust him anymore. Now they know that despite the fact that there are some overly strident voices out there in alternative media, I think we know who they are, that there are some others that are somewhat a little bit less strident and a little bit more rational in their presentation, and these people are having their effect. So what are we going to do about this? Well, okay, the only way that we can maintain the status quo at this point is to keep up the leftist narrative while infusing the society with a bunch of people that can be called to violent action with a flick of the wrist. That's what this is. That's what they want to bring them in. These are the shock troops.
Makes sense.
Use a car, use a truck, use a bomb, use a gun, use a knife, whatever. Well, I'd like to know, there was a lot of blowback to this billboard in North Carolina about men provide, good men provide, good women appreciate it. Oh, they thought it was sexist and just terrible. So I asked the men out there, what would you do if it was your daughter or your wife who was raped and brutalized by some of this scum from the Middle East? The scum of the Middle East, oh yes, I'm sure that they laugh when we tickle them, and they cry if we tell them a sad story, or they see an injured puppy or something. And then again, maybe they wouldn't. It's a generalization to say never generalize, but I think maybe that's the catch-22. There are going to be some good people who are rejected also, along with the bad. But when a religion is antipathy to your society, it must be rejected. When their laws don't conform to your laws, they must be rejected. So Donald Trump and the huge majority of Americans are for ejecting these people permanently from our country. John B. Wells says, yeah, and once you do, they're coming in. If they came in across the border, you need to pop a chip in their backside so deeply they can never get it out. And if they come in here again, they go immediately to a labor camp for 20 years. And you better be mandatory 20 years. And you better be a pretty good gardener, because if you're going to eat, it's going to be because you grew it. Now, if you want to take that kind of a chance, come on in because you think you need, therefore we owe you. We have things like Christian charities. We send lots of aid to countries, but you don't get to just invade us and set up shop and then bring in your buddies and start setting up franchises all over the country, and then try and practice your BS religion. And when we don't like it, then you threaten to blow people up. So I go back to this. What would you do, man, if it was your daughter or your wife or your mother or your grandmother, like the 90-year-old lady who was raped and abused and tortured to death in South Africa? Because that's the model for here. You have only to see the picture of George Soros standing next to F.W. de Klerk, his willing dupe, to find out who was behind the South African collapse. Take a look at the president. This guy, he can't even count. He can't even, it's 1,011. This person is a moron, but he's the president, scared to death of assassination. But Black Lives Matter, right? And then up in formerly Rhodesia in Zimbabwe, now you've got Mugabe. And Grace Mugabe issued a genius bit of information the other day that she got a degree. She's a doctor now. She got it in 2 months. Oh, she managed to obtain a PhD in 2 months. And she declared, again, if you don't believe me, look it up. It's there. That girls have a 100% chance of becoming pregnant. Yeah. Boys do not have this high a percentage of the likelihood of being pregnant. Listen, dude, I'm serious about this. I do, did you, Steve? Look, I'm going to relax a little bit here. Let me tell you what they do. They put up signs. I've got one. I'll send it to you. It says, touching this electrical wire will cause death. $200 fine.
But
Yeah.
that's absurd.
It's worse than that. All science now, firstly, the moron blacks in Cape Town, which was a beautiful city, they burned down the administration building, then they burned down their own dormitories, and then the government said, the whites must take the black students in to their homes and take care of them. They also say things like, the tornadoes are racist. Only black people have been killed by tornadoes, so the tornadoes must be racist. I'm not making this up. The white engineers who built the reservoirs are racist. They are trying to kill us from dehydration because they built the reservoirs too big and they will not fill up. If they had built them smaller, then they would fill up. But the engineers are racist.
You know, John, it's sad to see that in society today it's come to that because, you know, and you know, John, I've said it so many times before, even on your own program. I'm not against the Arabic people, not against the black people at all. But when you get things like this happening and the divisions that people are trying to do by using race out there, that's when the sad part comes into play.
You know, Stephen, the fact of the matter is that some people do not need to have rights because they can't handle those rights. When their rights are restricted, they are protected from each other. Just like when South Africa was blowing and going. It's not just because I'm marrying a South African woman. I've been going to South Africa since the late 70s. I started doing business with them in the mid-80s. I saw what was going on over there. It's insane. It was communist. Soviet Union had not yet come down. Well, guess where all those AK-47s that were being used to kill the white farmers, guess where they were made? Russia.
Of course.
It was communist. Well, the communists are gone. People say, oh, no, it's still communist. Well, it ain't communist like it used to be. It's communism light compared to the way it used to be, for sure. So here's the thing. I'm not against black Africans or Middle Easterners. I have no sympathy with either of those groups, meaning I don't mean sympathy for them. I mean sympathy with them. I don't care. This is my country. Now but for the grace of God or his decision goes John B. Wells, the angriest young black man radical to ever walk the earth. But that's not how it went. Here I am. Here I am, I am I. You are you. You know, I wasn't born Jewish. I wasn't born anything except other than who I was born. But just because I go, listen, I don't have any initiative in Africa. I did some commercials for them. That's it. I'm not prepared to embrace the entire race of black Africans and go, oh, I'm absolutely on the same page with you. I know nothing about it. That's not my thing. That's their thing. And their thing is just like the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's 100% communist. 100% communist. Mugabe and his bunch, along with Joshua Nkomo, killed the white farmers and take the land. Well, it took the land and did nothing with it. Before long, we got mass starvation over there. We must call the white farmers back. If they do not come back, it is racist. They will come back. So they didn't come back, but they didn't give them their land back. They just let them come back and work it. Because that's what those people do. They're primarily Dutch extraction, and that's what they do. They work, and they invent, and they fed everything north of the South African border. Well, as soon as the farmers came back and they got their little bellies full again, then they started killing them again, throwing off their land again, and then they went into starvation mode again. This has happened over and over and over. As a matter of fact, I wish I could show it to you. It's in my other studio. It's a $10 trillion Zimbabwean note. So help me, Stephen. $10 trillion note. That's when you put people of the Black Lives Matter mentality into power. That's what you get. As the black pastor David Manning of the Harlem Church, Atla World Missionary Church in Harlem, said, John, There are 26,000 miles of coastland around the continent of Africa. Not one seaworthy vessel has ever been built by Africans and sailed from that continent. In the meantime, Zuma, the president of South Africa, says all of the other continents of the world will fit inside Africa. This guy has an IQ of about 12, but he's the president. That's what they're trying to do in the United States. That's what they're trying to do. Crush Christianity, crush the white man, subjugate, rape, and enslave the white woman. So I ask again, men, how testicularly challenged are you in Germany and in Sweden that you let your woman be raped like this and you don't take a stick, a hammer, a screwdriver, a knife, a gun, a baseball bat, something, a frying pan, and wade into this scum and kick the you-know-what out of them? What's wrong with you? Are you just so civilized that you'd just rather die after watching your wife or your daughter raped right in front of you? You're just so evolved that you're just not gonna fight? Is that what it is? Well, I don't have to tell you to go kill yourself, because you are doing. You're killing yourself. You're just letting your wives and your daughters go first, right? I'm sick of it, Stephen. And people had better decide what clan they belong to, what family they belong to, what country they belong to, what their allegiance is country-wise, who their faith is put into, and they better draw the line in the sand, and they better be prepared to go all the way if somebody steps across that line. That's how it is. We either get ready to fight and show these people, show these no-good individuals exactly who they're messing with, or just roll over and let them kill you, because that's what they want. Ask them. They'll tell you that's what they want. Bill Ayers came on caravantomidnight.com and lied to me. I made him a knight because at least he stood up during the Vietnam War and did something, and then I stripped him of his knighthood because he lied to me. He said that thing about executing, just getting rid of, 25% of the population that wouldn't convert, that somebody just said that. No, nobody said it. He said it. I bought a book called Prairie Fire. I read it. I get books in all the time from people. They're wonderful. They send me all this stuff on radicalism and communist radicalism and the radicalization, Saul Alinsky stuff. These people are serious. Right, so the question is, are you serious or not? Because if you're not, okay. But when it hits the fan, I don't want to hear any complaints, because it's not like you weren't warned. You can call racist, you can call misogynist, you could do, people don't even know what a misogynist is. It means you despise women. You think they're just disgusting creatures to be used for your pleasure, nothing more. I don't know any misogynists. I've never met any misogynists. I'm sure not one of them. I'm sure as hell not a misogynist myself,
But
so, and hell is sure, by the way, for some. So anyway, just wanted to qualify that, Stephen.
And that's true, John. The thing that we're facing, especially here in Europe, as you've already mentioned, what people are facing, and this is not, John, it's not about being prejudiced towards one race or another. We've seen already in Europe, no doubt, I would have to say it like this, John. There's no doubt there's been some refugees that have come in from Syria that they're just families that end up here because they lost their homes. I mean, they've been attacked by Obama. Obama spent nearly his 8 years in office trying to bring down Bashar al-Assad for whatever his reasons were. So there's many people that have actually ended up here as a result of that. But what people don't know is that a friend of mine in Holland that actually has met these refugees and said they came here because they were promised free money, free women, that there's more women they know what to do with. And then on top of that, we have the defense minister of the Czech Republic said on live television that the rapes have increased I think it was 60%. Now I may be wrong on the number, John, but 60% in Europe, and that 100,000 women a year in Europe go missing. As of right now, it's an all-time record high. In America, I know that Obama, he's brought in a lot of refugees as well, but nowhere near like what we've had in the millions here in Europe. And it is turning into a war zone. And John, that's why I say this is not even a matter of racism now, but it does come down to a religious type of ideology. And I hate to say it like that, but it does. I'm not saying that everybody that believes in Islam is a bad guy, but when you've got people marching through the streets in London saying death to Jews, death to America, and that they're going to conquer and take over England, and it's going to become an Islamic state. They're calling in Germany. We have a Muslim guy that states publicly, he says, in 10 years, we will fully take over Germany. He says, because you're not willing to have multiple wives, and you're not willing to make all the babies like we are. And he says, and we are willing to do it. And he says, and we'll also take your daughters as well and make babies with them, to where we will convert the entire European Union to Islam, and that every one of them here will have to live under Sharia law. So it is coming, John, and you've got to make a stand somewhere, and this is what President Trump's doing. I don't agree with everything that happens. I just have to be honest about it, but the thing is, for the majority of the things that Trump is doing, he's trying to do the right thing, and especially when it comes to this immigration problem. But they're using it, the left is using that against him, and they're trying to make it look like, that, he's this horrible guy, and we're supposed to be a society of inclusion. They're going to end up, if they keep this up, John, it's going to end up just like it is here in Europe. If they do something to overthrow President Trump and they bring him out of office, which is what my greatest fear is happening right now, and I'm afraid that this is what the intention is to do, is to overthrow him or to bring him out of office or to declare him incompetent or whatever they want to try to do. They're up to this. And if they pull this off, John, they're going to open the doors wide open. And when they do, America's going to have the same problem that Europe has, and then they'll be crying. It'll be a different tune altogether.
If you were to look at, first of all, American women have been pushed into a bad situation, and what it is they were effectively not vilified, but they were made to feel as though they're wasting their lives, making a home and raising children and so forth. You can have it all. You can have a career, and you can have sex with whoever you want, have sex with other girls, whatever. And the strip bar mentality is what has done it. In the same way that pornography is limiting the libido of young men. This is all in your mind anyway, right? There's no reality outside of consciousness. So if you watch porn and you've been with 50 women in the last hour in your mind, why would you bother to go on a date? Why would you do that? The women know this, and they know that these guys frequent these strip bars and so forth. Many people do, and so what do they think? The young girls think the same way that they followed Madonna, that tramp. She's just a little white trash girl that managed to have a couple of hit records and nothing more. She looks hideous now. But anyway, they've been led to believe that they need to aspire to looking like... remember Pretty Woman and all these other movies that were out glorifying prostitution and prostitutes? They've been made to feel as though if they can't compete with a stripper or a sexy prostitute, that they're somehow deficient in this way. When the fact of the matter is that white women are the most desirable slaves of them all. Now, if you go to your favorite search engine and you type in, you request statistics on the number of white women who are raped by blacks or people of color. Let's throw the brown ones in there too. It's really high. However, let me know what your results are when it comes to white men raping black women. You will find that it's 0. 0. What does that tell you? And I'm going to say something else that people are going to like. Professor James Watson, the man who discovered did the whole DNA double helix thing back in, I want to say 1962, this is what he said. There is no rule or law indicating that people separated by vast geographical distances all evolved at exactly the same rate. It's not true. Oh, the cries of racism and bigotry just came all over the place, because he also said if you continue to attempt to apply European solutions to African problems, you're not going to get anywhere. Well, of course, the man is entirely correct. And just because people evolved, the Vikings evolved one way, and the Incas evolved another way, and the Chinese evolved, that does not mean that we all evolved at the same rate. True or not, James Watson was vilified as a horrible racist. But you see what happens when you let a bunch of persons of color from the Middle East. They just start raping the white girls. And the men stand by and let it happen. Because the white people that they put into office are facilitating this. Would they do such a thing? Control, fear, subjugation, depression, despondency, apathy, complacency, and removing the will to fight back and stake out what is yours. We are born with a sense of what is ours. If you don't believe me, look at a couple of 3-year-olds playing. One takes a toy away from the other one. The little kid starts crying. It's like, Tommy, give Bobby back his ball, or whatever. The next time that Bobby tries to take Tommy's ball, Tommy's going to attack him. That's what's going to happen. Wailing at him with his tiny arms. I mean, a dog, an animal, a cat, they have a sense of, say, that's my ball. That's mine. Well, let me have it, play with it for a while. No, it's mine. I mean, what is this? So now all of a sudden, we're supposed to abandon our sense of territory, our sense of propriety, and our sense of self-worth. Why would you want? They will not want the woman anymore after we have raped her. That's what they think. Now, these lily-livered Americans don't understand it, because other than slogging through a rice paddy in Vietnam or being deployed to that poop hole of the Middle East over there, they don't know anything about suffering. They don't know anything about it. Those generations are gone. That's why they call the World War II guys and girls the greatest generation. And they were. The women were women. They were happy to be women. Some of them worked. Many of them worked, but they really wanted a husband. They wanted children and a family and a home. But there's something just fundamentally wrong with that, Stephen. I mean, what is this? We've all got to be bisexual. Children are to be abused for our amusement, right? The pedophiles. To accept that. Well, I'll tell you this, not all of us are. I'll never accept it. And I think it's about time that people stood up on their hind legs like real men and women and decided what they're not going to tolerate anymore. And if you want something to go away, all you have to do is just quit buying it, and it will. I got off the subject a minute ago, but NBC has decided they want to lean a little bit more to the right. There again, I think I heard the name of Greta Van Susteren, and it gave me a headache within like about a minute and a half of listening to any of her newscasts, yelling at it like she's at a sports event, yelling at the camera. And then they've got that bimbo woman, Megyn Kelly, who's, by the way, is hideous without her makeup, just so you know. Oh, he's being so ugly. Yeah, I am. It's time to get ugly. We've been nice just about long enough. Well, the NBC's decided they're going to lean right. Well, you think they're doing that because they've had a change in ideology? No, it's because they're trying to save themselves. Because they realize that they don't want numbers like MSNBC has got. They don't want numbers like CNN has. They want to make money. They want to make money. So we're going to lean a little more to the right, and we're going to bring on some well-known, like right-wing personalities and kind of skew the audience that way. I say to hell with these people. Don't watch their channel. Don't buy the products of their sponsors. Nothing. Drive them into extinction. They have done a huge disservice. There's no reason to reward them by allowing them to continue in business. Just get them out of business.
That's one way that would work. So,
Sorry?
You're right, John. It's just, as long as we pander to them and as long as we play the mainstream media game, then they're always going to stay on top. And that's one thing my favorite quote of President Donald Trump is when the CNN news reporter stands up and I forget how it goes, but he's talking about something about fake news, and Donald Trump said, "No, I actually have a new name for you, really, really fake news."
Well,
Gosh.
Who's doing all this leaking? What was it? What was on Hillary Clinton's private server? Well, you've got so much crossover. I mean, Director Comey was part of Lockheed Martin, and Lockheed Martin makes contributions to certain foundations, and the money's here and the money's there. Everybody has been playing handsies and footsie under the table for so long, and they're trading each other, doing each other favors and all this, that they're also, in my opinion, they're also completely blackmailable. That's why they don't get radical when it comes time to oppose these ridiculous things that are presented to the public as fact. There's no pushback against it because they're afraid they're going to wind up in the spotlight themselves. They're afraid that those pictures that reveal them standing a little bit too close to some really nefarious characters are going to be revealed to the public. It's all self-interest. Patriotism has become a joke. Since when did the American people become the enemy of the state? Well, since the communists took over, and they'll say, "Oh, Joe McCarthy, he was a drunk and he was this and he was that." Joe McCarthy was on the right track. He revealed a lot of communists. And there was a communist fifth column in this country, a very, very deeply embedded one. Joe McCarthy didn't do anything wrong. Well, he ruined some people's careers. Well, stuff happens when you're trying to save a country from something as horrible as communism. Sometimes some people fall through the cracks. But these people say, well, it's better to let 1,000 murderers go than to execute one innocent person. Well, I completely disagree with that. So you're going to let them out to murder again? Because in your heart, you know that it's just better this way. Well, break it down and tell me how is it better. They've already killed, so you're going to let them go again, and certainly they will kill again. Certainly the vast percentage of the high percentage of them will. But you don't want to risk executing an innocent person. Well, nobody wants to execute an innocent person. But it's a Murphy's Law thing. Anything that can go wrong, eventually on a long enough timeline, will go wrong. That will happen. It's like that Clint Eastwood movie, what was it, Hang 'em High. This kid winds up getting hanged. It was wrong. He didn't really do anything. He was just with the bad guys. And they said, well, you know what? You were with the bad guys, and they killed somebody, so you're going with them. So what does that tell you, kiddies? Stay away from people who are criminals, or you'll suffer the same fate upon their conviction. Right. They're going to lump you in there with them, and you're going to wind up getting convicted, even if you didn't actually pull the trigger. You have some propriety. That's what this is all about. This attempt to accommodate everybody. Everybody must be accommodated. It's totally impossible. Well, we need artificial intelligence so we can read if, even though we accommodated them, somehow they may hold resentments against us. We need an AI program to read them. We need to turn these human beings into nodes. We need to surveil them. We need to look in their email boxes. We need to know everything about them. We need to encourage them to use digital media so that all of their stuff will be available for us to examine anytime that we feel that it's necessary to do this. Even a digital camera with a GPS built into it so they can see exactly where you were and on what day at what hour that the photograph was taken. There's no reason for this other than they want your privacy. And don't look now, but your privacy's gone. Unless you take steps to get your privacy back, get rid of that smartphone and get a dumb phone. Get one that doesn't have a GPS in it. Get one that doesn't have a web browser on it. If you want privacy, well, you're not going to be able to have all the toys. Or in other words, if you want a new idea, read a really old book. And if you want something to go away, stop buying it. And it will go away.
I think
on that, Stephen.
that's some good sound advice, John. And you know, the artificial intelligence, I thought we had that for the last 8 years in the White House. So, but at this point here, John, I want to thank you for coming on. And listen, friends, those of you that are watching tonight, he's not pulling punches at all. And if you are interested and want to know things like this here, go to John's website, Caravan to Midnight. The link is right there in the description below there to where you can join in there with John. He has a lot of interesting guests on. But there again, the thing I like about John is he's candid about what he believes, and he's not afraid to say what he believes, and he's not going to mince words about it either. And that's what we need.
I hasten to add, my brother, that there are a lot of black people that are members of Caravan to Midnight. They say you are entirely correct. They know what's going on. It's just that there are so many people in what we call the black community that don't, number one, know what's going on, and number two, care what's going on. That it's just like none of the people, just remember this, folks, none of the people who came out of black neighborhoods, black sections of town, once they get with the program, make successes of themselves, and they do. They don't go back to those neighborhoods because they know what's waiting for them when they do. They'll be called Uncle Toms. They'll be told that they're not black enough. They'll be killed because people are jealous of them. That's how it goes. Not everybody evolved to the same level, emotionally or any other way. Emotionally, intellectually, pick one. There's no law that says everybody evolved at the same rate. And when they try and push this thing on you about equality, just remember, we are equal under the law, and we are equal at the foot of the cross. But other than that, equality, making everybody just like everybody else, is exactly the same thing of making everybody nobody. That's what they want. Number will suit you just fine. You don't need a name. That's elitist. Just like a cursive writing is elitist. Just like using proper grammar. According to Washington University, in the writing department, use of proper grammar, the writing center, use of proper grammar is racist. This has gone too far, and we've got to stop it. If we don't, it's going to get much, much worse on a very short timeline. I'm warning you. There's nothing in it for me whatsoever, except grief to come onto a public platform like this. Anybody can see it, anybody can hear it, and I'm just going to jack my jaw and blow out all kinds of stuff. What's in it for me? I'll tell you what's in it for me. Save the republic. Save the future for our children and our grandchildren. The choice is either that or just be a selfish moron and just, I'm in it for me. And I don't care about the children or the grandchildren, and I don't care about you. I'm in it for me. That's anathema to me. I can't do it. I was put here to do something. Remember your scripture. What makes you think that you were not born for a time such as this? What makes you think you were not? God bless you.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching. And again, we'll be seeing you very soon. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Erev Tov. 1 second, John.